What up, everybody? Blake Scholar Magic. I hope you are doing so well today. Oh, Blake, is that you? Blake, I have to interrupt this video for multiple reasons, Ghostfire. You, you have not, yet published the Taval Arbiter Virtue deck, and I'm very upset about this. And you're doing Myrel a puny human. Why would you do such a thing? Well, Ugin, I still need to acquire you. Silence, Ghostfire. You must do the Taval Arbiter Virtue deck immediately after this one. Thank you. Oh, okay, Ugin, you got it. So yeah, that one will be coming up. So be on the lookout for that. That's an absolutely insane Sultai deck. And I'm not really sure Wizards kind of knew what they're doing with Taval Arbiter Future. And I don't really think anyone knows what's going on with that card yet. But I think you will. I think it might be competitive. I think even my budgety deck seems extremely strong. It's kind of budgety. In a way, I kept it under $300 and something. So I thought it was pretty good. But we do have to acquire the Ugin before we kind of get that locked and loaded. Also, another announcement is that I've been kind of integrating like this new giveaway. So I have these really sweet cards. Like I said, I've been kind of like, I guess just kind of curating my decks, maybe removing some cards that I don't exactly need. And I'm finding a lot of valuable cards that I just kind of have redundance for, and I want to kind of give them away for these paper deck techs. So in my last feature on a binder I got from Savers, we chose Mana Drain. So if that video gets 20 likes, I'll spin the wheel at the 20 likes, and the people who make comments will be eligible for Mana Drain. You'll just have to contact me in my email, and we'll set you up. So let's do this again. You got some really cool, like, $20 to $40 cards here. And I really just don't know what the sleeves are. I just kind of just go like this. Maybe, was this the Cabal Coffers? It was. Okay, so I do know that one. So for this one, we will be giving away the Cabal Coffers. Still like a $20 card. And also, I did have a bonus one for this one to go on flavor. I'll be also giving away the Catapult Master. So that's just another like little cool feature for this particular deck. If it gets 20 likes, which I'm sure it will because it's one of like our Commander deck techs. Once that happens, I'll look at the comments, I'll spin the wheel, and then I'll send these off to the winner. So there's that. So we still have, for the next ones, we'll still have a Seagate, nice foily Seagate, and nice full-bordered Otawara, or the Saga Simulacrum Synthesizer, nice foily guy there. So, all right, so let's do this. So Myrel, Shield of Argive. This is a 4-costed human commander, legendary creature, human soldier. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. This card's gotten me on like multiple occasions when I've been like playing at 1v1 on the MTG Arena client. Like for instance, like if you try to like even like say for instance you have a card like Reckoner Bankbuster, and you're like, oh well, that's not a spell or anything. Like I'll be fine. Like I can draw on my opponent's turn. It'll be totally cool. Actually, no. With Myrel, if you try to draw while it's her turn, while it's, the person that controls her, it's their turn, you can't activate any abilities of anything. You're basically turned off. You're basically time walked, and you can't play during their turn. You can't even if cards say draw cards like at instant speed, like for instance like a Reckoner Bankbuster. If it's that person's turn, you can't do it during their turn. So if you're planning on even trying to maybe perhaps crew like the Bankbuster, to like block Myrel, you wouldn't be able to do that either. So it's just like a really nasty card. Just basically shuts the opponents down when it is that person's turn and they control Myrel. In addition, whenever Myrel, Shield of Argive attacks, create X/1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens, or X is the number of soldiers you control. The first time I took this out for the LGS, and actually the only time I did, I was labeled like a mono-white control player, oddly enough. And I actually felt really good about that. I was like, is this mono-white control? Like, it kind of feels kind of like that. I was very fortunate in that I did draw this particular card. And that is the Catapult Master. This card is absolutely insane in Myrel. I'd say it's number one. So I've kind of ordered this for you to kind of, get, antiquated or familiar with Myrel, and I'm also giving away the Catapult Masters just to kind of spur your juices to, so to speak, to what this card can actually do. Now, you're going to be in the soldiers. You're going to want to be playing a lot of soldiers. This is a soldier himself. 5-costed soldier. Tap 5 untapped soldiers you control. Remove target creature from the game. Simple as that. And with Myrel, you're going to be creating lots of soldier tokens, like lots. When everything is going as it should, and it usually does, you're going to be creating, 30 plus soldier tokens, and they come in untapped. So if you have a Catapult Master on the battlefield and you swung with Myrel and you've created, 10 tokens, all of a sudden you can just remove 2 creatures at instant speed just by simply tapping them with the Catapult Master on the battlefield, and they're exiled. Holy crap. That is crazy. What a card. This card is insane too. I would have to say, if you can flip this over soon enough, which you can usually with soldiers, because, some opponents are not going to have their defenses up, and we can simply, remove 3 life from this battle in order to flip it. Basically, this card will get into somebody's hand. So if someone's like talking a big game at your table and is like, ooh, like I got this, and I'm, this is what my deck does, and blah, 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 blah. Well, then maybe you're going to want to do an Invasion of Gobekon on them and, kind of look on their hand and maybe slow them down a little bit. In the meantime, you can even, this would basically go onto that person's, side of their battlefield, the person's hand you looked at. And then we can go ahead and, deal 3 damage to this and flip it over. What it becomes, it's basically becomes like an array. So let's just flip this sucker over here. And there is the Light Shield array. At the beginning of your end step, put a 1/1 counter on each creature that attacked this turn. So you get a buff for, once this thing flips and you remove the 3 life, it'll immediately flip onto this side as an enchantment. And those creatures that attacked it or attacked your opponents, they're all going to get a 1/1 buff simply because they attacked that turn. Amazing. Then sacrifice Light Shield array. Creatures you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. So that's kind of like the mono white control aspect. I think it was a very kind of flattering thing, for someone to say. But it's like, okay, so I have this basically creature that can remove all our opponent's threats, and then I have this and I did have both of these on the battlefield at once, so I was very fortunate. And then you basically have this enchantment that is basically preventing, large-scale board wipes, things that destroy all creatures at once. Like, you can basically just sacrifice this, and our opponents will be indestructible and have hexproof till the end of turn. So, a very cool card in general, just kind of hovering there, kind of as a safety net. And we love to see it. And we love to see it because we're going to play so many creatures. Like our board, we're going to be very board heavy. We're going to be in the center of the game with our creatures. We're in that vulnerable spot. Like, we can get exiled. We can get, destroyed all at once. It's just really kind of, always there. We got to protect our stuff. We got to, be proactive in that manner. So let's get right into the soldiers. And obviously, you're just incentivized to play soldiers. So I think this is also just a very good beginner deck in general, like where you're not gonna hate playing like a 1/1 creature on turn 1 that's a soldier, and just letting it be a soldier, and just be happy that it's a soldier, because basically with Myrel, as she attacks, to remind you, she will create X 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens, where X is the number of soldiers you control. So if I curve out and I basically play soldiers on each of my turn, once Myrel is swinging, I'll probably have like 3 or 4 soldiers on the battlefield, and I'll probably make, 4 artifact soldier tokens. I might even have more. And this is a cool soldier. It just scales up as more humans enter come onto the battlefield. And it won't be procced by Myrel because she creates artifact creature tokens that are non-humans. But our other humans will always trigger this, so we'll scale up. It'll get stronger and stronger. It could be easier to swing with on our opponents. Warden of the Inner Sky. This is the new tech from Ixalan. And I think you'll just love this one too. Basically, it just can grow. It can scale up. It can tap down those tokens that Myrel makes, for instance, and start scrying. We can kind of look for some cards. Really, really cool card in general. Very good in Standard too. Very good card. Recruitment officers is also that one, also really nice, like just 1-drop. It's a nice 2/1 body, and also for the 4, you can kind of mana sink into it or pay into it as many times as you want, as long as you have that much mana. You may reveal a creature card, mana value 3 or less from among them, and put it into your hand. Really cool card advantage late in game. If we like have like a Nykthos or 3-Tree City, we can kind of mana sink this and find more threats in that manner. It becomes card advantage. The Raven Inspector also just kind of gives you that one of, like, make a clue. I'm a soldier, I'm a 1/2 body, and then I'm going to create this artifact where you can pay 2 and 2 and draw a card. Fantastic. Esper Sentinel is that always ever-looming threat. Love to see this in the opener. Love to play it on turn 1. Love to start accruing cards. Our opponents play non-creature spells, and they don't pay the tax, where X is Esper Sentinel's power, so it's a very big card engine. Keithian, Hero of Akros. This one is really interesting. If it attacks with two other creatures, including itself, basically will flip into this Planeswalker. So there's Gideon the Battleforged. And basically, Gideon is really cool. It's going to be like that really interesting thing where it can like perhaps target a creature that we want to swing into us, and we can just like take it out. So that's that +2, up to 1 target creature an opponent controls attacks Gideon Battleforged during its controller's next turn if able. That's an interesting +2. The +1 until your next turn, target creature gains indestructible and tap that creature. I think that's like probably very effective for Myrel. You know, like it's just like lets her swing with impunity, like giving her indestructible, just lets her basically swing with freedom against our opponents. And obviously that's just a really nice trait that we want to have for Myrel. And that is a very effective thing to not have to, like, for instance, it's kind of like a lightning greaves in that way, where if it's just on the battlefield and Myrel is kind of ready to go, you know, it's just, you know, we're making her indestructible and it's like a free swing, you know, and that's what we really like about Myrel. We want her to swing and we don't really want her to die. So that's a very good card in general, and that's just a 1-drop soldier. All right, so the game plan. What's the game plan for this particular commander? I'd have to say overall, it's just basically smash face. That's like your primary win con, is to make your soldiers stronger in general and destroy your opponents simply with that raw power. So you're going to love like these two-drop soldiers that buff up your squad. This can even get value from your graveyard, and you can put a 1/1 counter on each soldier creature you control by exiling this from your graveyard. It's fantastic. Coppercoat Vanguard. This will just make our humans have a buff, but what I really like about this is it kind of gives some built-in evasiveness. It's a soldier, right? It meets the criteria as a soldier, and it will give all our humans a ward 1. I feel like that's kind of a big portion about this. The big pull for me is that like kind of built-in ward 1. I think that's kind of cheating in that manner. You know, if people aren't like really jiggy on like, you know, they have more single target removal, they might be less incentivized to like remove Myrel during their turns. And having this ward, you know, where they have to pay an additional mana to target, like on Myrel, I think it's just kind of gets us over a finish line in some circumstances. And just the buff to the humans in general is good. Dahlia's Lieutenant. This is also like just kind of one of those like, I'm a soldier, like I fit in. I'm a low-cost soldier. And that's the thing about it. Like the card quality doesn't have to be perfect. It just, if you have a 2-drop soldier, it's probably pretty good. Like for instance, there's even like a soldier that just came out in Edge of Eternities, and it's a very redundant Resolute Reinforcements, where it's basically a soldier that creates another soldier body. Any of those are very exceptional, right, for this deck to like kind of go on curve and increase our soldier count to maximize the number of soldiers we create. Thalia's Lieutenant is just kind of like a massive, you know, buff to the humans that are already on the battlefield, and then it scales up as more humans enter the battlefield in general. So it's not the worst. Not the worst, really. Raised Alarm, so that's just like your instant speed. I create 2 white soldier creature tokens. Perfect, right? Resolute Reinforcements does this as well. And I'd actually consider like, because I do prize creating like, you know, tokens in general. Like for instance, if I could get more of these resolute reinforcement effects, I would probably consider them over cards like this. Coppercoat Vanguard, I think, kind of just gets it, but like I would definitely consider like just swapping that one out. So resolute reinforcements, flash when resolute reinforcement enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. So yeah, so you get 2 soldiers. I really like Relic Seeker. This along with the Cloud Midgard Mercenary are just absolutely fantastic. I'm still gonna be looking for Cloud. I'm sure I could probably, find a copy that someone's willing to give up today. I'm hoping I'm gonna bring a lot of cards to the LGS tonight, and hopefully acquire the Cloud Midgard Mercenary. But Relic Seeker kind of does, you have to jump through another hoop. This thing has to do combat damage. When it does, you put a 1/1 counter on it and it becomes renowned. When Relic Seeker becomes renowned, you may search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. So our primary targets are, the Lost GT or Skull Clamp. So that's really kind of the juice there. We kind of get right into those equipment, so they're very effective. So that's just like a really nice one. As I mentioned, Cloud Midgard Mercenary is going to be that really sweet one as well. We even have like equipment such as like Lightning Greaves, Swiftfoot Boots, Lava Spur Boots. So lots of nice little equipments that can fetch up. Thalia, Guardian of Fraben, this is like your 2-drop that slows down your opponents. So first strike, non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast, really nasty card. Cathar Commando at the 2 spot can actually destroy artifacts and enchantments, so really good for that 1 generic cost, or it could just be like a nice little battler. You can flash it in, during the opponent's turn and have it start attacking if we need it to, or just like simply destroy an artifact or enchantment for an additional 1 generic cost. Very, very diversified card. Bounty Agent's also just a really nasty card where you can destroy a target legendary permanent that's an artifact, creature, and enchantment. Really good in Commander overall. And it's a Selja. All of these are Seljas, baby. Ballyrush Banneret. Kitten spells and soldier spells you cost 1 less to play. A very fantastic just soldier that reduces the cost of our other soldier, and Kitten spells, fantastic. 2/1. Field Marshal, this is like a lord. It will give our soldiers 1/1 and first strike. Fantastic. We're in their 3 drops now. Mirror Entity. This can be considered a soldier because it is a changeling. It's every creature type. Now for X, until end of turn, creatures you control have base power and toughness XX and gain all creature types. Yo. So this would be a fun finisher, like if, like I said, in that situation where we're creating like 20 plus, 1/1 artifact soldier tokens with Myrel, then like for simply, the cost of 3, we can turn all those into 3/3s, and now we're doing like, 60 damage to something at once. So yeah, that's cool, right? I think it's a cool card. I'm definitely excited about it. Bastion Protector. Commander creatures you control get 2/2 and have indestructible. Fantastic for Myrel. At the 3 spot. It's going to make her a little stronger. Again, it's kind of like that, Gideon effect where we just get to swing with Myrel and not be too sad about it because she's going to have indestructible and likely not die. So yeah, Bastion Protector, very cool card. Brimas, King of Areskos. What a cool card. Just the fact that like you're making more tokens. I'd say like your battle plan here is in short order to have your soldiers be strong and create more soldiers. That's simply put. And Brimas he just checks all those boxes off. It's a soldier itself. It has a nice little base power and toughness, so it can get in there. When it attacks, it creates another cat soldier creature token with vigilance on the battlefield that's already attacking. And then when it blocks, it will also put another 1/1 cat soldier creature token with vigilance on the battlefield blocking that creature. So it's just absolutely crazy. Really cool token generator there in general. Then you have like these cards that like will basically generate value, right? From being soldiers, this one will fetch up another 1-drop from your hand, another 1-drop creature card, so that could like find your Esper Sentinel. It could find another one of your 1-drops that might be a tech card at the time, even like an Ocelot, probably, because we are doing token stuff. So what an amazing card. This just gets you into your card advantage. Similarly, the Recruiter of the Grodd would do this for creatures with toughness 2 or less in general, so it can actually find like 2 and 3 drops as well in some instances. Mentor of the Meek. As creatures with power 2 or less enter the battlefield, you may pay 1 if you do draw a card. Fantastic. It's also a soldier. Thalia, Heretic Cathar for strike. Creatures and non-basic like lands your opponents control into the battlefield taps. Pretty brutal stuff, yeah. Just kind of taxes our opponents, slows them down a little bit. Now this is kind of an interesting one. It kind of like hovers in the space of who knows what this is. It's just like strange value, I would say. So this is a 3-drop 2/2 first strike. When preeminent captain attacks, you may put a soldier creature card from your hand into play tapped and attacking. Whoa, that's like a lot of value that it's already like tapped and attacking too. Plus you get like whatever enter battlefield triggers that you might have for like your larger soldiers that you have in the deck. So I really enjoy the preeminent captain. Seems like a good one. Siege Veteran. This is one I'm like, you know, it's basically insurance, like it's kind of like an insurance card for your non-token soldiers, because when they die, they'll just replace themselves with another soldier artifact creature token. But I'm not overly concerned from like how I played this, how the deck resulted the first time around about us not being able to kind of like be evasive. I could actually see this be like the Cosmonaut in the 3 spot for the new Edge of Eternity's Mythic. Basically, if you double spell with it on your second spell each turn that you play, it can create 2 1/1 soldier creature tokens or provide a 1/1 buff to all your creatures on the battlefield. That's going to probably be the upgrade there for the Siege Veteran. Okay, now we talked about Catapult Master being like the most powerful card that removes things and kind of dictates the board. This is your finisher. Bearground of the Guard is just absolutely insane in the membrane. Whenever Bearground of the Guard or another human enters battlefield under your control, creatures control get 1/1 and gain vigilance until end of turn. You know, and like I think people were wondering like why I was running Adeline in this deck because it's not a soldier. I think like it's because of this. Like it's humans in general. It's like humans. Most soldiers are humans. So if this thing enters the battlefield and you have a bunch of tokens already made, they're already going to get like a massive buff. And simply put, if you play like another human for your hand, then they're going to get another massive bump. So I feel like the Beargon of the Guards are just absolutely insane in the membrane. Gold Knight Commander is like, like doesn't have any restrictions. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control get 1/1 until end of turn. So this is like the one. I mean, even when the artifact tokens that Myrel creates come on the battlefield, everyone's just going to get a buff at once. So limiting like fog effects, one ring type effects, you're going to win. You're just going to win, you know. You're going to win really fast. This is it. You know, you can have like, 10 soldiers coming on the battlefield at once. It's like a Craterhoof Behemoth effect, and it's only 4 mana. So what's up with that? What a card. Ranger of Eos. Once again, this is actually going to fetch up 2 creature cards and converted mana cost 1 or less. Amazing. So we love to see that. Like a nice little card value. Fireman Commando also. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, draw a card. We love it. Whenever another player attacks with 2 or more creatures, they draw a card if none of those creatures attack you, so it incentivizes them to not attack you. Keeper of the Cord is that one where we'll create a 1/1 white soldier creature token at the beginning of each opponent's end step if they control more creatures than us. I don't really see that happening very much. We're probably going to have the most creatures on the battlefield in most circumstances, but for the land, it's kind of a nice form of, getting equalizing in your land and mana. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, if that player controls more lands than you, you may search your library for a target plains card, put it into your battlefield, tapped, and shuffle. Fantastic. Captain of the Watch. So these are some of our like higher value cards. I've chosen them mostly based on the fact that they buff up creatures in general. So other soldier creatures you control get 1/1 and have vigilance. That's massive. And then when Captain of the Watch enters the battlefield, put 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens on the battlefield. That's just really good. So yeah, more soldiers, the better. I also chose the Sanctuary Warden just because it's like offers some card advantage. It won't create any like redundant soldier creature tokens. It just makes a citizen token when counters are removed when it enters the battlefield or attacks. But it's just kind of like a cool like little form of card advantage for us, and it's a nice flyer. So I do enjoy the Sanctuary Warden. All right, so here is the Achroma's Will. Obviously, a very nice finisher for us. This will basically give protection to all of our creatures if we control Myrel. It'll give them double strike, indestructibility, lifelink, all at once. It's just kind of a one card, you get everything at instant speed. So yeah, you get one of those modes no matter what, but it could be a defensive spell, can be like an offensive spell. It just can be so versatile. Here's the Cathar's Crusade. Similar to that Gold Vein or Gold Mane Commando, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on each creature control. Just absolutely devastating in this deck. Coat of Arms. I know people are running the Patchwork Kinship from Bloomberg. I just simply haven't picked it up. But I do have this old foily Coat of Arms, so that's cool. And that will do similar things, right? It'll just make our soldiers really strong. Just sees other soldiers and buffs them. Gets an additional +1/+1 for each of those creatures are on the battlefield that are soldiers. It does that for all creature types, though, so be aware of that. Skrelv, Deflector Might. So now we're talking about our protection. And I just am fond of Skrelv. It could be a giver of runes, I understand, but I like the little homie over here. I just dig it. I dig the character of Skrelvy. Look at it, he's eating a little Phyrexian finger there. That's cool. He's crazy. But yeah, so yeah, Skrelv, just to, simply tap down for life and tap this down, protect Myrel if she gets targeted. Lava Spur Boots, these are protection spells, they can basically make Myrel fast too. So we have to consider that. We want like Myrel, give her a chance to come down on the battlefield and swing immediately. So cards that have low equip costs that grant haste and some protection are fantastic. So Lava Spur Boots, Swiftfoot Boots, Lightning Greaves is the best one, obviously, just a 0 equip, slap it right on Myrel, get really busy. Boss Recat, this is kind of that evasion that we've been kind of talking about and like giving like an instructable option. Like, so for instance, the +1, put a 1/1 counter on up to one target creature, it gains indestructible end of turn. A really nice ultimate here too, to be honest. You get an emblem with at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token, then put a 1/1 counter on each creature control. Fantastic. Ocelot Pride, just a really nasty token enabler. Just basically loves to gain life, have a lot of permanence, and as you create more tokens, you double those at your end step. So it's just a really, really strong card. So let's read it exactly. So first strike, lifelink, ascend. If you control 10 or more permanents, you get the city's blessing for the rest of the game. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, create a 1/1 white cat creature token. Then if you have the city's blessing for each token you control that enter the battlefield this turn, create a token that's a copy of it. So yeah, it's just like a doubling season on a 1-drop for white. So yeah, this could help us, obviously. Adeline also will just create those human tokens when it swings out. It's just like a nice token payoff. And it's not a soldier, it's just a really high quality white card. I'm just very fond with it. I think it goes well with Baragond. Yeah, and those things stick around. Those tokens stick around. She gets stronger. Yeah, I think it's fine. The more bodies we have on the battlefield, the better, really. Skull Clamp is a card that just kind of loves to see a lot of these low-powered bodies on the battlefield. Simply slap this on and we can get some card advantage that we're so desperately going to need. We're going to want to draw a good amount of cards, and Skull Clamp can do that. So equipped creature gets +1/-1. Whenever equipped creature dies, draw 2 cards. Ooh, equip 1. You love to see it, guys. Very strong. Knight Errant of Eos. This is just another card that's a value card. It's going to love us to tap down all those tokens that we make. And it's going to let us go that deep. If we simply convoke, tap 4 of our artifact tokens and another white creature down, that would meet the requisite for being able to look 6 deep and basically put into our hand all 2 of those cards that have 5 mana or less. So it's just some really nice selection and card advantage. Now here's some more kind of just clever ways to protect ourselves and be evasive. Clever Concealment. Convoke any number of target non-land permanents you control, phase out. So along with this and our Invasion of Golbakan, we kind of have these kind of safeguards that are kind of really nice and just easy to pull off. They're just kind of, whether they're sitting in our hand or sitting on the battlefield, they're just going to protect our board. So we love it. That'll be for the turn. Clever Concealment. Swords to Plowshares has some just nice like 1-for-1 removal. We love to see it. Lord of the Third Path can also destroy an artifact or enchantment. And in addition, we can politic. And if we want an opponent to draw a card and we would like to draw a card too, we can kind of politic that out. And, you know, we can get a card in exchange like, hey, maybe leave me alone for the next turn. You know, those kind of stuff. So, yeah, Lauren it's that good interaction and also possible cards as well. Las Gite, very important. We need to, you know, accelerate with our mana in certain circumstances. So Las Gite can definitely be that card that kind of does that. Equip this, we can start generating counters on this. We can also be very good for Myrel. Can simply, like, if we want to swing on a particular opponent, we can make, you know, one of their creatures unable to block, and now simply Myrel can just swing in. So it's a very multifaceted card. It ramps us. It can get our cards stronger. It can make certain creatures not block for the turn. Really fantastic stuff. Legion's Landing, just to make that token. And then if we swing with 3 or more creatures, we'll transform this into a land. Can also generate cards too in that manner. Oh, sorry, it can generate more tokens. So it can add planes to your mana pool, or you can create more creature tokens. Fantastic. Patchwork Banner. This card will add a buff to all of our soldiers and also be able to add a mana of any color. So you would choose soldiers, and then creature you control the chosen type, get 1/1, add 1 mana of any color. Fantastic. Archiomancer's Map. This one is a really interesting one. It's kind of a way for us to kind of get some lands going. You know, if we are starting to draw a decent amount of cards too, you know, as long as opponents are playing more lands than us, and this would meet that requisite. If they did play a land and we had this on the battlefield, we could simply you know, put a land from our hand onto the battlefield, and that's a put clause. So you could just do that. So when Archiomancer's Map enters the battlefield, search your library for up to 2 basic plains cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, if that player controls more lands than you, you may put a land and card from your hand on the battlefield. Fantastic. Okay, Soul Ring, fantastic. Easy mana, so fast. Arcane Signet, Dan Frazier, love to see it. Pearl Medallion, your white spells cost 1 less to play, fantastic. Mind Stone, that's an interesting one. It could be mana for us, like without any like restrictions, just colorless mana. And it's not like it comes in play tapped or anything. And then we can simply pay 1 and tap it to sacrifice it to draw a card later, fantastic. Now we're coming to the lands. And the lands are really exceptional for mono white soldiers. I would have to say the 3-tree city is exceptional, right? It just, you know, you choose soldier when it comes to battlefield, add generic mana all at any time, then 2 and a tap, choose a color, add an amount of mana of that color equal to the number of creatures you control of the chosen type. And if we have that many soldiers, that could be a lot of mana. A lot of white mana. Oof. You can see how that can kind of get a little crazy. Nick those 2. I swear, like, just these 2 cards are kind of like just GG. You know, we can just like kind of do anything we want at that point. That much mana. Even with like a card like Recruitment Officer, and you're just kind of just getting into gasoline, you're just like having some nice mana sinks. I even like a card like Plaza for our monocolor decks or your legend decks, just because it's going to be like easy protection, and you won't get too punished for like, you know, needing like, you know, blue, green, red, and you just need like white mana here. So Plaza seems to be a really good choice. It just offers more protection for Myrel too. Witch Enchanter for a land. It can also destroy a target artifact or enchantment. Like the card quality on this is just like out of bounds. Like I'd say you're probably casting it for its front side more often than not. But if you do need that as a land, you can do that as well. Minas Tirith, as long as we attack with 2 or more creatures this turn, we can pay 1 in plains and tap it to draw. That's fantastic. And it will enter tapped unless you control a legendary creature upon playing it. Windbreast Heist is that hideaway 4. Oof. So this comes on the battlefield. You hide away from the top of your library. You can just look at look at 4 of them, exile 1 of them face down, and then basically put it under this land. This land will enter tapped. Add planes. And then for planes in a tap, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if you attack with 3 or more creatures. And we have lots of creatures, so that's a really crazy card. Yeah, you just get like a free cast in there from the top 4 of your library. And is it actually just play, right? Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it's just a play. So you just like, you can even put like a land on the battlefield. Emerius, the Sky Ruin. Emeria, the Sky Ruin enters the battlefield tapped. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 7 or more planes, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Cool. Throne of the High City. Add generic mana or 4 and a tap. Sacrifice Throne of the High City. You become the Monarch. So yeah, we can become the Monarch and start drawing cards. You'd love to see it. Shift Out Dunes. This is an exceptional card. You can pay life to add planes. You can, just tap it for colorless, or 2 generic and 2 planes. Sacrifice a desert. You creatures you control, like such as this. Creatures you control get 1/1 until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Fantastic. Bonder's Enclave. Add colorless or 3 and a tap. Draw a card. Activate this ability only if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. Yeah. Emeria's Call to make some sweet angels and giving our non-angels indestructible until end of turn. It's beautiful. Egonjo to target like a creature that we are interacting with on our attacks or blocks, and we just channel that. Basically, it gets reduced by the amount of legendaries we have on the battlefield, and simply just discard this card. It will deal 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary and creature you control. Faceless Haven to like be that animated land that can be a soldier. It's a changeling, but it's just really cool in that manner to be a man land and be considered a soldier, especially when we want to up our soldier count. Then we just have all these sweet snowlands, and they're just going to be kind of going in. I don't have them all matched yet. I'm still kind of working on that, but they're mostly getting there. I have like a Cold Snap, and then I have some of these. I've been picking these up overall, so we'll see which way we go, but I have more of these ones so far, but eventually I'd like to kind of match them all up to be matching. And that is the deck tech there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this crazy one. Remember to like or comment. Remember at 20 likes, we're gonna spin the wheel, and the comments, someone from the comments is gonna pick these up. And for the last video, when I featured the binder at Savers, it's going to be a mana drain. So make sure you revisit that one. Check it out. And here is the sweet cards. And I even organized all the paper deck techs into a nice little playlist. So if you ever want to go to the home page, you can just kind of find maybe deck techs. And I think I still need to add all the Greasefang ones in there too. I did add most of them though. So they are there. There is a playlist now for all these sweet paper deck techs, and they are like kind of my channel. Like I just like kind of look at those and I'm like, oh, those actually do really well. People are like more accustomed to seeing this, in my channel, and some success for the other stuff, but mostly it's just this is kind of what people enjoy looking at is the paper cards. So there they are. We got to get the Cloud, got to get the Cosmonaut. I think that's what it is, Cosmographer, some crazy name like that. But soldiers are cool. My interest is definitely peaked. This deck kind of like stood the test of time, as you would say. So very cool for Myrel. Very cool deck. I also got some cards from a viewer. So thanks, Vaughn. Let's check out the cards you hooked me up with, brother. I saw one in there I was very excited about, was the Green Suns. Basically because I really wanted to build a X deck, or a deck with X spells, and I needed the Green Sun Zenith, but it was a very expensive card, so I really appreciate you kind of sending these in, and obviously, we're on the same kind of wavelength. These are just been gravitating towards us lately, as these snow-covered mountains and such. Actually got some in that vintage binder from the Savers. There was a lot of snowlands in there. It was more vintagey than not, I'd say. Maybe not vintage, but ooh, thanks, brother. These are so cool. And then obviously we like to see Vaughn's cards because they're always really gas and they're always interesting and old, mostly. So Moment's Peace, 1 generic, 1 green, prevent all combat damage. Oh God, that's just disgusting. This is like probably my evolution of my commander brain, is to like punish like people that just want to play Magic and just do damage. Magus of the Vineyard, 1 green. At the beginning of each player's pre-combat main phase, add double green to that player's mana pool. Whoa, that's like you want to go fast. You crazy, Vaughn. All right, Berserker's Onslaught. 3 generic, 2 red. Attacking creatures you control have double strike. Ooh, that is cool. Yeah, I think double strike is very good. Ember Cleave, of course, is kind of like the card for me. But just having it on enchantment is really cool as well. Kessig Wolf Run. Add 1 to your mana pool. Ah, yes, this one. And an X green red. Target creature gets Exo and gains trample until end of turn. What a cool card. Very low like restrictions there, you know. This is a card too. People have been talking. I've seen it pop up more in like videos and stuff. A really nice Ledger Shredder. Thanks, man. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, Ledger Shredder connives. Yeah, that's an amazing card as well. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you may gain 1 life. You know, I might even consider Ledger Shredder for my my Taval deck, because in the multiplayer format, there's a lot more like you know, double spelling and stuff, isn't there? I will definitely consider that. Thanks, man. That'll give me another creature option too, so I don't get totally run over. Soul's Attendant. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you may gain a life. Fantastic. Ah, there it is, the Green Suns. Crazy. Search your library for a green creature card with converted mana cost X or less. Put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Shuffle Green Sun Zenith into its owner's library. Yeah, just like easy tutoring and really good for X matters. I know I have like a build around for Aragorn, like where I get to play Roshin and like all the different X costed spells. And I feel like that's like really like kind of an avenue I want to kind of still get into eventually. I mean, I'll be honest, like I kind of like these videos kind of dictate like what decks I'm kind of into. And my Aragorn decks like really didn't do too much. Like they overall, like, can compare to like my other content, like overall it's good, but like compared to my paper deck decks, like Aragorn never really kind of took off in that manner. But it was always like one of the more powerful cards, I thought, you know. So I'll definitely be like revisiting it, and maybe we can still like give it the full treatment now that we have this like sweet X card. And you know, they just keep printing more of these cards, right? So yeah, it's always an avenue to explore. Price of Progress. Price of Progress deals 2 damage to each player for each non-basic land he or she controls. Really nasty stuff. Buried Alive. Search your library for up to 3 creature cards and put them into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. Really awesome for graveyard matter stuff and old anime dead. Thank you, brother. Yeah, that makes sense. And Jace's Archivist. This was also piquing my interest that you sent this one. So 3 mana, 2/2 Valdalkin Wizard. Tap, blue and a tap. Each player discards his or her hand, then draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards. Oh, that would also go well in the Taval deck too. Yeah, so we're just going to put that in there as well. Okay. All right. I got this. A Ghostfire, Blake. Yes, Ghostfire. Yeah, Taval is coming. I just want you guys, I know this was Myrel's show, but just guys, this card. Delve on a card is, and making everything else that you cast have delve is just absolutely insane. What a card. And these are all just very graveyard matteries kind of things. So yeah, I think that's going to be something fun to look at. And I'll definitely probably put an Animate Dead in there as well. Buried Alive actually kind of makes sense too. It really does. It really does make sense. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot. I hope you all have a great day. Make sure you like and comment the video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.